I just want to say good evening. My name is Cody, and if I haven't had a chance to meet you, I'm one of the pastors on staff here, and I get the privilege of serving over kids and teens, over family ministries. And we just want to tell you guys thank you so much for what you do. Because you see, what you do matters. We just had a ton of kids baptized just 2 weeks ago, right? A ton of kids baptized. That matters. We've seen more salvations in the last 2 years than we've seen in a long time. That matters. And so we want to say thank you so much for what you do. We want to say thank you for weathering the storm of change with us as we've been navigating. Because you see, we've gone from about 3 years ago, there was this focus on providing what I would say is quality childcare, to moving to where we are now providing quality ministry. And there's a big difference, and I'm so incredibly thankful for that. And let me just share a few statistics with you guys, because those that know me, I like my spreadsheets, I like my numbers, and it helps me understand things, right? And so if we go back 2 years ago, I want you to hear these numbers, because 3 years ago, we started to change our focus, and we wanted to focus on salvations, because we just weren't seeing the numbers, and we believed that God would do something. And as a kids team, we began praying, and we began asking some of you to pray. And in fact, I've prayed with a lot of you in the rooms for salvation on Sunday morning. And so 2 years ago, we saw 46 salvations in Ransom Kids. That is absolutely amazing, from going from just single digits to 46. And then this last year, since we've come together at one campus, we have seen 43 salvations in this past year, for a total of 89 salvations in Ransom Kids in the last 2 years. How amazing is that? And another subtle shift we made is it's no longer the pastors presenting the gospel, it's the teachers, it's you all. You are now presenting the gospel, and you are doing that, and God is using you to water and spread the seed, and it is so incredibly amazing. 2 years ago, we had, of those 46, we had 10 baptisms. So this last year we said, okay, we really need to focus on that. We need to teach on it. You may have noticed that we're teaching on it. And this last year we had 58 baptisms. Isn't that amazing? For a total of 68 baptisms in the last 2 years. You see, we've moved from child care to children's ministry. And I'm so thankful for each and every one of you and the role that you play to do that, because it matters. It matters deeply. Just some other things for you to notice is that we are running about 224 kids in the last 6 months is what we've been averaging. And we've hit a high of almost 270 kids down here on a Sunday morning. And as you know, as you're in the classroom, there are more and more new faces that are coming each and every week. And I'm excited for what's to come. And we're going to share a lot about what is to come here in the future, to talk about some of those things with you. But tonight is just meant to be a celebration. It's meant to be a time of encouragement. And so we have just 3 quick little testimony videos from parents talking about the different things that happens inside of Ransom Kids, from camps to baptisms to things, and the impact it's made on them. So why don't you guys check out these videos?
I used to be a volunteer down for Ransom Kids. I have 3 kids. My oldest is Julia. She's 7 now. She goes to Ransom Kids every Sunday. And for a few months prior to baptism Sunday, last time we had it, she had made comments about being a Christian, about following Jesus, and as a parent, very excited to hear those words come out of her mouth and what that may mean, but was hopeful for the day where we could maybe have a deeper conversation about what that really meant when she seemed a little bit more prepared to understand that a little bit more deeply. And so baptism Sunday comes, and we're on a ride home from church, and she makes some more comments about, hey, we talked about baptism today. I think that's something I want to do. And so we talked a little bit more about that on the way home, and Monday comes, the following day. I have the opportunity to pick Julia up from school almost every day, and for whatever reason, baptism came up again. And it just seemed like that would be a good opportunity to have that deeper conversation about, hey, baptism represents this public showing to everybody that you've accepted Jesus. And so what does it mean to accept Jesus? And we talked about, inviting him into our lives, that we're sinners, and that's okay because he sent Jesus to die on the cross for our sins. And ultimately that led to me asking her if that's something she wanted. And if I could pray a prayer for her that she would accept Jesus. And ultimately she did. And I'll never forget the look on her face because I was crying tears of joy. She looked so confused, yet happy. And I'll never forget that moment. And it was nice having that opportunity for me to do that myself with my daughter. But that all started months before, long before we even had that conversation. It's those little seeds that were planted along the way with friends and family, but especially here at church with you guys listening right now. And so I thank you that even though you might not know it, even though you might not have had that prayer with Julia and had that direct discussion, here's what it means to follow Jesus. That's where that led. All those little seeds that were planted culminated in her asking more and us having that opportunity to have that discussion and leading her to Jesus. So as a parent, nothing more exciting than to have that. And I hope and pray that I get to have that same experience and conversation with my other two kids. And so I say thank you.
My name is Scott Eidiger. This is my wife, Rebecca Eidiger. And we have 10 children total.
This last summer, they all went to the church camp. They all had a really good time. I think especially Sebastian seemed to really have a good time. He had lots of positive things to say about everybody when he came back, so they had a good time.
Yeah, just want to thank everyone involved in teaching and watching over our children at camp and on Sundays while we're at church, and it just means so much to us. It's very inspirational to when you check them in and walk down the stairs and see them just light up when they see the different people watching over them and high-fiving them, and it just gives them confidence, and it's good to see.
They run down the stairs to beat us all down here, so they're in a hurry to start their high fives, and we wouldn't be able to enjoy church if they didn't get to enjoy church, so we thank everyone for everything that they do. When they started talking about baptism down here, like in September maybe, the twins especially were very interested in the baptism. We just happened to be gone the last time they did it, but we've all been kind of on a spiritual journey. We did some church shopping where we were looking for a place that we felt we fit and someplace that we could call home. And Ransom really spoke to us especially. And like I said, the kids love it here. When they knew about the baptism, they wanted to participate in it. So a couple of us did that as a family.
I'm Tammy. I started serving with Ransom Kids during the summer serve, helping out in the classrooms as a volunteer. I was approached to do summer camp, be a camp counselor, and I said yes. And it was an adventure. I had about 9 girls in my cabin, 3rd and 4th grade, and they were a lot of fun, and it was loud, and it was laughing, and it was dirty because it rained, but we did a lot of Bible verses. We built relationships. We supported each other. We got to do fun activities together, and I was able to make some connections, and I was able to see growth and some of the girls coming out of their shells. One in particular was very quiet at the beginning, couldn't hardly get her to talk, and by the end she was joined in and laughing and having fun with all the rest. So definitely worth it. So one of our foster daughters came to us after one Sunday after talking about baptism in Ransom Kids, and she decided she wanted to be baptized, and she is an 8-year-old second grader. She had been to other churches in the past, so she wasn't unfamiliar with the process. She had watched her foster brother get baptized. So she approached us, she wanted to be baptized. We discussed with her what it meant, what she felt it meant, and we felt she was ready. We prayed about it and felt she was ready to be baptized, and she was baptized last Sunday. And she had just the biggest smile, and she was so excited and told all her teachers at school and all of her friends.
All right, guys, we're going to keep moving things along. You're more than welcome to keep eating, but to honor everyone's time, to make sure that we are done in time, we want to keep moving along. And so, again, we just want to say thank you so much for what you do, because, you know, over the last year, we've really gone through some changes. And some of those changes have been like, hey, we need to raise the bar of expectations inside of each of the classrooms, right? And so we've been able to do that. And at first, it's really, really hard. But now I believe we're seeing the dividends of raising the bar. I'm a firm believer when parenting my kids and being a youth pastor for years, that if you raise the bar, kids will go get it. You just have to set the expectation, and there needs to be consistency so that they know week in and week out, this is what is expected. And surely over time, they do that. And so I think we're seeing the fruit of that. I attribute some of the salvations to just removing those barriers of all the distractions that were going on by bringing some structure to our classroom. So thank you for weathering that with us. Thank you for week in and week out. You're like, oh, Cody, you can't do that. Next week, Cody, you can't do that. Next week, Cody, you can't do that. Because it's paying off. So thank you for that. Thank you for committing to being consistent. I think that's the biggest game changer in our classrooms, is the consistency of our teachers and our helpers, because the students, the children, they get to know you. Not only do they know what's expected, they know the person that's there. And I come down here and I watch on a Sunday morning, and the kids run straight to their teachers and high five them, and they're telling their parents, oh, look, there's so-and-so. I've been out in public where I've watched some of our kids run into their leader in the grocery store, and they're like, it's Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so. And it's absolutely amazing, and it makes a difference. You see, and all of those things matter when it comes to setting up the stage, removing barriers, so that then the children can hear about who Jesus is. Because some of our kids come from a home where they're never going to hear about Jesus. And we get the opportunity and the privilege to tell them about Jesus Christ. And it's awesome and it's amazing. And so I want to say thank you so much for that. I do want to apologize, because I know when we were making some of those changes that it was a little bit confusing. And so on behalf of the team, I'm so sorry that some of those changes were confusing. Like, when do I need to be there, and what does it look like, and what Sundays am I supposed to serve? But I think we found a really good rhythm. But what we're finding as we're growing and we're recruiting volunteers is being here every single Sunday of every single month doesn't work for a lot of our shift workers that are nurses, firefighters, police officers. It just doesn't work in their schedule. So starting in the next year, you're going to be hearing that we're going to be bringing people on, and they will be able to, we have a minimum expectation of 2 Sundays a month, and we'll kind of alternate them with our teachers staying the same. So we would plead with you, if you can continue to do every single Sunday, please do, because that consistency matters. When we onboard new people, we're going to plead the same with them. But if something has changed in your life where you need to do twice a month, please let Pastor Paul or Pastor Josiah know, and they will get the schedules adjusted accordingly. Nothing's going to change in the scheduling. Still do it the way you are through the Church Center app. You're going to get the notifications. Make sure you block out your dates and do all of that. But I know some of you, I won't call out any names in the room, haven't updated the app yet. And so if you haven't, make sure you open it and get it updated, because you're missing out on some of the functions and some of the ways that we're going to be able to communicate with you with those things. So make sure that you guys get that done. If you don't know how to do that, don't ask me, I'll break it, but you can ask Pastor Paul or Pastor Josiah. They will help you get that. Or where's Mitch? Mitch will help you as well with those things. So on that. So with all that said, I'm so excited for the trajectory of where we're going, and you're going to hear more exciting news tonight as we continue on, but I love where Ransom Kids is going, and I love the focus, and we're starting to see the fruit of God at work, and we get to come alongside God and just get out of the way and let him do his thing, and we get to throw some seed out and water these plants and just watch them grow, and it is really a privilege to be able to do that. And so thank you for what you do. It does matter. The story of the dad sharing Christ with his child, the story of kids being baptized are because of your faithfulness and your obedience to partner along with what God is doing. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Paul, and he's going to come up and share a few things with us.
All right. So I don't know if you know this, but we basically at the beginning of the fall started a whole new team inside Ransom Kids, and we have called it our ThinkTank Team, because they are the team that thinks of all things we can do and we can do better. So if you are on our ThinkTank team, and you know you're on the ThinkTank team, please stand up. Yeah. So there are representatives of each of our age environment on this think tank team, and right now we meet once a month, and Josiah and I bring absolutely everything to them because they are in your shoes, in your rooms, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. And there's no way Josiah and I can be in every place at all the time. So we might make decisions that affect how you do ministry, and they could be the wrong ones or bad ones. These guys can tell us that, and they do. They will say... Yeah, they will say, Paul, that's a really stupid idea. Who thought of that? Josiah did. No. It's really great. And so we run everything by them. We run everything through them, and they influence the ultimate decisions that come around. The reason I want you to know that they exist is because, I'll pick on Jess, right? She kind of owns toddler age environment. And she owns it extremely well. So those of you that serve in toddler, sometimes you can't find Josiah and I. We're here, there, and everywhere. But y'all always know where Jess is. So you know, something you see is not working, an issue with a parent, you see things that could be better. Find Jess. She comes to this think tank meeting, and she can bring that as your representatives. You know, Heather, Jackie, Jenny, they're in early childhood. Mitch is check-in. So if you hate how your label prints, talk to Mitch, because he can change your name. We can change you to Batwoman, that kind of good stuff. Yes. And then Deb is, and Bernie, they are elementary age, so they represent elementary. I didn't leave anybody out, did I? Nursery. Nursery is Meg Nelson, but she could not make it tonight. But we do have a nursery representative as well. So we're excited for this team because as they are influencing our decisions, we're just going to keep doing what we do better and better and better. So that's the Think Tank team. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is at the beginning, we were putting out these video announcements and video bits and pieces of information, and Josiah and I are not really, I sound better and look better on radio instead of video. So we have partnered with Sean upstairs, and we're going to get some better equipment and do some better jobs so that in the fall, we will start to put out at least monthly, here's what's coming up, here's what you need to know, here's some different things that are going to be coming down the pike, and hopefully they'll be a better quality for you to watch or just listen to. And I'm a podcast junkie, so that helps. If I don't have to read it, I can just sit on a treadmill or a stationary bike and listen to a podcast. I'm bringing this up because once they come out, you want to get on our YouTube channel, hit like and subscribe so that you will get notifications every time we put a new one out. We will also use the Church Center app to send notifications. I know you get your scheduling through Church Center app or an email, and you can reply, accept, or decline. You can go in there and you can block out dates. You know, if you need to communicate to us, you can communicate to us through the Church Center app as well. If you're wondering, you know, I wonder how many people are helping me in early childhood at 9:30. Am I going to be the only person in there? You can go through the Church Center app and it will tell you who else is going to be 9:30 in early childhood or all that sort of stuff, so that you're like going, oh, phew. It also allows you to go, you know, it's Saturday night and I'm just not feeling Sunday at all. But I don't want to leave them hanging, 500 kids and 2 leaders. I don't want to do that. So you can go through the Church Center app and go, oops, there really is only 8 of us. That would not be a Jesus thing if I left them hanging just because, I broke a nail. So you can check that out, and, the Holy Spirit can speak to you about those kinds of things through the Church Center app. Again, in the fall, we're going to be doing these video vlogs. Please get on our YouTube channel, hit like and subscribe so you get notifications. We will send notifications like you got notification through the Church Center app for this event that you could register through. That is also where you're going to get your schedulings. We're trying to be a one-stop shop here. Instead of you getting information from Ransom Kids in 5 different formats, we're going to stick to just a single, because part of this think tank team has said 1 is better than 4, 5, or 6. And I know some of you in school have, yeesh, if you have kids in multiple schools, it's a mess. So that concludes my bit. Now the part that you've all been waiting for is Phill. He is going to walk us through this amazing new thing coming up. That's right. And if you don't know Phill, no, I'm kidding.
So I'm excited to be with you, and I'm excited to celebrate you. Every good choice these guys have made, every bad choice they've made, every dumb choice they've made with hearts for these kids, right? And so thank you for the graciousness with all of us as we try to navigate how we do this best. And so I get to celebrate with you some of where we've been listening to you, and we just heard your hearts and heard what's working and what's not working. So in the quiz, we mentioned that all the kids used to be upstairs. And then we finished this basement, and half the kids came down here. And then we started ministering to the recovery community and the transient population and everybody that Ransom just loves so well. And they were meeting in these rooms down here and having to come into the kids area. And we're like, oh, we're trying to keep the kids area where nobody comes down. So we moved everybody down here. The only problem was this was never designed for that. So if you have kids back there in that corner, the hallways are smaller. Why did they do that? Because there were never going to be kids back there. There are no bathrooms in that corner. Why is that? Because they were never going to be there. But we want to fix it. And we've been listening, and we've been listening, and we've been listening. We've been listening to you guys. We've been listening to Think Tank. We've been listening to Paul and Josiah. And then we've also been listening to our facilities guy, Don, who's like, get better carpet, durable, And we've been listening to our design team that's like, but it's got to be pretty. And we've been listening to all the voices. And we think we got a pretty good plan. And I'm pretty excited to share it with you. So I'm going to take you through some blueprints. So everybody, this is a kids thing, right? So we got to put on our imagination caps because we're good at that, right? And we're going to put on our imagination caps. So this is the blueprint. Now, you obviously can't see that. That's of this floor. So I'm going to have them zoom in on this area. So the next slide you're going to see is a zoom in on this area here. So this is the room you're sitting in, and it's going to be massively different. So we were talking about what's working and what's not working for kids ministry. And one of the complaints was these garage door rooms are too small. So our original plan was, how do we make them bigger? And what we found is that if we made them big enough, there's no room left. Like you end up with a tiny, tiny room. We also thought, we started dreaming about this 4th and 5th grade ministry that we've been dreaming about. But where will we put them? There's no space. So we talked to Paul, we talked to Josiah, and they said, we can actually do groups without rooms. Sometimes we end up doing that. And if we had to make a trade, we think we'd pick the space over that. And so what you're going to see is a massive change. So these are the doors you walked in when you came in, right back there, are right here, okay? So we're going to gut out this entire thing. And is anybody, these pillars here, anybody ever annoyed by those pillars? By the fact that they have to be there, these half walls here? The bad news is they're holding up the roof. So they're sort of important. So what we decided to do was everything on that side of that wall is going to be one large room for 4th and 5th grade that will enter right here, okay? So they're going to have their own space so that, who thinks a 4th and 5th grader are starting to check out a kids ministry? So our plan is to go, oh, but wait, there's something for you that's special in that other room. The little kids don't get to go in there. You get to go in there with Pastor Josiah and Pastor Josie and begin to almost have like a pre-teen ministry. So we're going to create a space there for them right here. We're going to move the entrance to that corner right back there so that when parents come in the lobby, one of the things you said is, man, they're all congested in the middle, but we've got all this space way up there that's just open and nobody's using it. So we're going to move the entrance down here, and the kids will come in this way, and there won't be rooms there anymore, and they'll come in right this way, and the room is actually going to turn, and the stage is going to be over there, and you're going to have one long room this way instead. And we think that's going to be a much better use of this space. So that's what we're thinking for 1st through 3rd. So, and this age group would be 1st through 3rd now, and then 4th and 5th will be in here. That make sense to everybody? We good? We like it? 2 thumbs up? Okay. Next, actually go back to the last one, Josiah. Over here, this is... What's that? Was that you? Oh, I called you Josiah. You're much taller. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, this is what is currently the jungle. Now, well, it used to be the jungle. It has trees in it for no reason now. The park, that's what it was. The park, not the jungle. The park, it was Central Park, which is why it has trees, but it's not the park anymore. Now it just has trees. It's not going to have trees anymore. They're going to go away. I mean, the pillars will still be there because, again, that roof thing, but they won't be trees anymore. But here's one thing cool that room does have. Who works in that room? Okay, it has these. These are bathrooms. Here's the only problem. The kids that need the bathrooms are way over there. So we're going to move those kids here. What we're going to do is this stairway is getting blown out a little bit, and there's going to be a double door, not a single door. Did you ever know you could be so excited about a double door? There's going to be a double door here. We're going to shift this door down here, and what you're going to see here is like a long hallway here. This will be check-in, so you'll be able to come in, check in your kids into these 2 rooms for 2 different age groups, and then go out. I'm sorry, what? Well, I mean, two different pockets of age. I don't know how you're splitting them up. And they can stay together, Jess, because this wall right here, it's removable. Let's go. So we can have 2 separate rooms. We can also open it back up, have 1 room together for the toddlers with the bathrooms. Let's go. Meanwhile, next picture, Cody. Up here, around the corner, first of all, we're cutting off part of the bathroom here to make this hallway wider here. This is currently 2 rooms. This will be 1 room. It will be the nursery. We'll be adding a sink for you, okay, for washing hands and all that good stuff. And that will just be 1 space. It may be segmented out, but it'll be 1 space. And then this is 2 rooms. And if you remember back there, there's all like these bump outs and stuff like that. We cut them all off, so the hallway will be wider. And it's going to be 1 big space. And right here, you can barely see it. There's a line. That line is because this half will be carpeted, and there will be the stage with lights and sound and all the fun stuff for the kids. This side will be hard floor with tables and sink for crafts. That's going to be the new early childhood room. What did I miss anything? Those are the general changes we're making. So we have a concept drawing here, particularly of, now you're not going to be able to see that again, but we have the designers from Vanderwall working on this with us and putting together some carpets. And to me right now on this, they all look brown, so that's not helpful because the color's not great, but they're not all brown, okay? So new carpet, new vinyl base, new stain, same paint colors, nursery carpet there. But what I want to do is go to the next slide. So these right there are, I got to remember. Oh yeah, those are those doors right there. So if I'm standing here, this would be your lobby right here, okay? The next picture turns the other way and is looking this way, so you can kind of see the whole room. This stage area will be there, and the doors will be there, and it'll all be open. Does that make sense? Yes. So behind the stage will be a closet where Paul and Josiah can put on costumes or whatever I don't know what you do. We were commenting at our table in the back that the good news about you both being about the same height is that it cuts our costume budget in half. You see what I did there? Half. Short is a short. Okay. Any questions on this? I do have one of upstairs. There's two changes happening upstairs. Change number 1, I'm going to save the best till last. Change number 1 is the big meeting room that is sort of got ping pong tables and stuff and attracts kids, but it's not useful for anything. We're just going to cut into 2 rooms because we're losing rooms down here for teens. So we're going to at least add 1 room upstairs, okay? But the big exciting thing is this right here, E12. It's a door at the top of the steps that lets people out into the lobby, but will not let them come back down the stairs. That means all the parents have to go to the other stairs and have to go out this way. And nobody has to be the jerk to make it happen. Let's go. Thank you. I am very excited about a door. It's a big deal. I'm very excited about this door. So that's what we have planned to give you a snapshot of what that's going to mean for your world in the coming months. We are hoping to bid this starting this week. That's our goal. We have we're waiting on electrical and mechanical HVAC stuff, but we're close. We have an inside track because Ben has been helping us, and so Katie can be like, honey, seriously, get this thing going, okay? But no, she can't do that. But we are hoping to start this if we got really, really not lucky, if God poured down his favor upon us, April 1st, we would start. That's the day after Easter. More likely, it will be sometime mid-April to May 1st that we will start this. Our plan is to do this in phases because we want to keep having kids ministry and do it as undisturbed as possible, if that's possible, in a remodel. So here's what that looks like. We figure the best way to do this is to move not to move the age groups around 1 million times, but to move them as little as possible. So our plan is to take the pre-K that's currently in, it's not pre-K, it's not preschool, it's early childhood. The early childhood, and to temporarily move them upstairs to meeting room 1 space, to clean it out and turn it into a temporary, that's where we're gonna do kids ministry. It won't be ideal, but it will be a place they can be for the duration of the remodel, okay? Then what we would do is we would start with this area. So we'll move the early childhood upstairs to their temporary spot, and we'll move this age group into the early childhood room, and they will remodel this entire space. Then they'll be able to move the elementary age into this room. Done. They move once, their space will get done, they'll move into their space, okay? At that point, they will remodel what is currently the early childhood space into the toddler nurseries so they can have the bathrooms and the removable wall and all the good stuff. And then they'll move those kids into their space. They'll never have to move. They'll just be back there, and when their space is done, they'll move into their space. And then they will do those back rooms, which will be the early childhood and the nursery, and they'll move everybody into that space. And that would be the plan, essentially. Nursery, when those kids move into there, the nursery's not a big remodel, it's just a taking down of a wall and some carpet and stuff. So they may take the wall down in a week, and then the nursery will be usable, and then they'll finish like the carpet and stuff. So there'll be like a very small snag. And then when all of that's done and we get all the early childhood done, then we bring those kids downstairs, and then we do the upstairs remodel. Clear as mud? How we feeling? On a scale of I'm terrified about this mess and also really excited, are we on this excited side? Are we? And it never will be, right? Yes. This is the dream, and we will do it, and we'll spend a lot of money on it, and immediately find stuff we don't like. It's just like building a house, where you're like, why did I put this door here? I don't know why. But one of the things we do have on our side is that we have done this several times, and we've lived in this space in a way we don't want it, and we really, really know what we need and know what we want. And we think that the one thing we can't do when you're remodeling a space is create more square footage, right? The footprint is what the footprint is, and you'd never know it looking at this basement, but there is a pillar about every 20 feet in this entire basement. So we got to work around what we have. But given what we have and given what we need to accomplish, we do think this is probably the best utilization of this space possible. So our hope, and talking with Ben, who does this for a living, talking with the architects, talking with some of the subcontractors that have come in here, nobody's scared about our timeline because it's not a scary remodel. Nothing in this. The nice thing about this basement is nothing in here is load bearing, so they could tear every room out and start over if they needed to. So we're not. That makes it slower when you have to deal with load bearing stuff. And so our goal is that they would be done with this. They might not be done with upstairs, but they would be done with this basement space by back to school Sunday. And nobody is scared of that timeline. That's a plenty long timeline, all things considered. So what we need from you is a lot of prayer, that some of this stuff just has to go your way. The timing has to work out and all this and that. And you never know when you're going to get a subcontractor. And like every job, it's hard to find workers. So we're just praying that we can do the best we can. And but we're hoping to make this. Thank you for being patient with us. As you know, this space has not been ideal since we moved all the kids down here. We're hoping this will take a massive step forward towards accomplishing what we want, and that along with moving into the new remodeled space, we'll also have a new 4th and 5th grade ministry, which I'm really excited about for those kids that are dropping off in the 4th and 5th grade. They're just like, it's a little, I'm here with a first grader, it's not cool, that this will be kind of a step towards youth ministry that will be exciting for them and new, and we're really excited about it. So that's our plan. Yeah. Do you have a question? I thought you had a question. I thought I saw your hand go up. Maybe you wanted to interject something. Okay. So that's our plan. That's our perceived timeline. Does anybody have any questions on the remodel itself? Other than, is it going to be messy? Yes.
We did also, one of the things we planned in is that check in and check out, parent pickup is all, everybody coming into each room now.
Yes.
You can test the hallway.
Yes. So the check-in and check-out will happen in this age group here, inside this area, out of the hallway. In this age group, it'll happen in the lobby, outside the hallway. So we're trying to get as much congestion out of the hallway for check-in as possible and still create clear check-in, check-out, and safety and all that for kids. Another thing we will be doing as part of this remodel is taking a next step in our security. We are working with Midwest Alarm, I think, is who did the quote. And they will be putting cameras in our entire building, internal and external. They'll be monitoring it. We'll be able to have the police here if something were ever to happen. And there'll be high def cameras, not what we've got, where it's like, I think that blur is my child. I think. Was he wearing a blue shirt? So that is for your safety as well as for anybody else's. We want to protect against any impropriety. Are we doing the right thing? We want to be able to, if somebody wanders in, know who it was, keep our kids safe. That's our goal. And so it just, unfortunately, in this day and age, we got to take that step. So this will be part of that. It's just taking that step up in safety. So I just get to close this in prayer, and I want to again thank you, but I also want to pray what's called a prayer of endowment over you. It's what they pray at an ordination, and you might be thinking, slow down, slow your roll, buddy. I'm just a volunteer worker, but you're not to these kids. To these kids, you're their pastor. Whether you're just a worker in the room or they're a teacher, they don't know the difference. They don't know that I'm an ordained minister in the Wesleyan Church and you're just a volunteer. To them, you're their pastor. And that's how it should be, right? So I should not be. I get the high fives because I'm the guy at the front door, and when the kids run down, there's about a half a dozen of them that hug me on their way downstairs, and then they hug me when they come back up, and then I say, what did you learn? And they can tell me about their lesson, and it wasn't a lesson I taught, it was a lesson you taught. You are their pastors, you are their shepherds, and I want to pray the appropriate prayer of endowment over you as you take up that responsibility. So let me do that. So Heavenly Father, would you anoint the people in this room with calling and with purpose? Father, would you help everyone here, everyone who watches this video, and any potential team members who step in the future to understand the weight of what they do for the kingdom. Lord, this isn't just a volunteer position that they fill every other month or whatever the case may be on a Sunday morning. This is an opportunity to step into a child's life and to show them Jesus. And that's not the responsibility of pastors, that's the responsibility of the church, which makes everyone in this room in some ways ordained for this purpose, ordained for this calling. And that can be scary, God, that can be overwhelming, but also help us feel your empowerment to do what you're asking us to do. God, when we raise a standard, help it be only about one thing, about making sure more kids know Jesus. God, when we change a facility, let it be about one thing, making sure more kids know Jesus. When we choose to do a certain programming over another, let it be about kids knowing Jesus. When we decide whether or not to show up on Sunday morning, let us remember that when we show up, there's one more kid that we might get to talk to who might come to know Jesus. One more seed that might be planted. God, that is the holy calling. And I'm so thankful for the people in this room because I have a job I have to do on Sunday morning. And as much as I love kids and as much as I'd love to be on the floor down here with kids or hanging out or teaching them in this room, I can't be all places. But because of your kingdom and because of how you built the body of Christ, we can minister the gospel out of this place to every kid. And God, because of the people in this room, there are literally 90 kids who know Jesus that didn't know him 2 years ago. There were literally 70 kids that have been baptized that weren't baptized 2 years ago. And as great as those numbers are, God, every one of them is a life that goes back into a home that might not know Jesus, and they might lead their family to Christ someday. It is a high and holy calling. It is a high and holy calling to carry your word and to teach it to kids. And the statistics show, Father, that most people that come to Christ do it before the age of 18. Would you help the people in this room know what it is you have entrusted them with? And would you ordain them for that purpose? I pray in your holy name. Amen.
All right, that concludes our stuff for tonight. If you have any questions, Josiah and I will be here, and we would love to answer any of your questions, especially if you're going Church Center app. I really just can't figure it out. It's just not working for me. That's part of what we can do for you. And Heather will be cleaning up after all of you leave. So thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for coming tonight. If you know people that weren't able to make it, by about Wednesday, Thursday, we will post this whole video out on our YouTube channel that you're going to like and subscribe to.
Maybe you
Yes.
know what the YouTube channel is. That way everybody knows what it is.
Oh, go back to that slide, Cody. The one with the think tank and the, it's this, RC Kids, YouTube.
Just thought I'd pull it up.
Yes, yes. And you just search us in YouTube and you'll find it. Like and subscribe. Good night. Do what? You're welcome to stay. The door's locked behind you.